Welcome back to RVN's new television show, What the Why, with host Barbara Ann, me. On this show, we will feature conversations from leaders from all walks of life, all different ages, genders, you name it. Specifically, what they do, why they do it, and how they figured it out that this is what they're meant to do in life. We're so excited you're joining us. Whether you're looking for something different in your life or career, feel stuck and want to know how to get unstuck, or found us by accident, whatever led you here, this show is for you. And our guest today is Candice Racite. All set for Valentine's Day too. But more importantly, Candice is Dean of Internships and Career Planning at Rowan College of South Jersey. Though she doesn't often use her title, Candice earned her doctorate of education from Wilmington University in higher education, leadership, and innovation. She has many talents, some of which she will talk to you about today. She describes her students as her clients and her role as putting academics to work, internships, and graduate placement. I'm so excited to have her as my guest. So without further ado, welcome, Candice.
Hi, Barbara Ann. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited about your new show, What the Why, and it's definitely the perfect title because we all should be doing what we do for the reason why we do it. So thanks for having me.
You are so welcome, which is exactly why I wanted to have you on as one of my first guests. So let's jump right into the questions. Everyone has a story. How did yours evolve to where you are today? In other words, how did you get here in your career journey?
Well, it's a long story, but I'll try to make it quick. I started out in high school as an intern, and that moved into college as an intern, and then I went about my way, just kind of working like in the field. I was working in municipal government in accounting, and then I had the opportunity to adjunct, and that's when everything kind of really changed for me, because I was in a room with students who were not too far distant in age, and they wanted to know everything I knew. And I was like, wow, I have a real opportunity to share, you know, just as far as I had been at that point. And after like my first semester or two, I realized that's probably what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I did not know that getting the degree in higher ed and working for a college was actually going to be a position where I was working to get internships for students. And it's just such an amazing story because the loop completely closed, having had like all those internships when I was, you know, trying to find my way, and then ending up in higher ed and working to place interns. So it's just a really fantastic thing for me to think about, like where I came from is where I am now, and doing that same opportunity, hoping to have students feel the same way, that they're excited about the opportunity they had before they hit, you know, the real working world.
Which is awesome, because all of us have been students in some way or another, and knowing that somebody really empathizes what they're going through is really tremendous. But I don't imagine when you were a little girl that you said to yourself, oh, this is what I want to be when I want to grow up. So what did you start out wanting to be when you were young?
Well, at first, you know, I wanted to be a doctor or a teacher, all those, you know, big name things that you hear about, you know, on TV or in the news. But then I was going to be a lawyer. I was really thinking, like, after I got my undergraduate degree, I had kind of thought back about, you know, when I was a child, what did I want to be? And it was really just a joke between my dad and I, because I like to argue. You know, so you think that that might be something that you're going to go into. But I really wasn't sure. I wasn't dead set on anything in particular.
Okay. So what are the three things that contributed most to how you got to where you are today?
Well, I don't believe in chance.
Me either. There is no accidents.
No, there are no accidents. You know, so I believe everybody has a purpose, and I know that God has given me mine, and he has put me in front of the right people in the right situations at the right time. And so I definitely know that I'm where I'm meant to be because I have somewhere else to go from here. My parents were both always encouraging, and I think that's what kept me wanting to progress, like educationally and work-wise, because I didn't want to let them down. I wanted to make something of myself and become something. But then I really have to say that when I was a community college student, which is awesome because I work for a community college now, it was just having people that were willing to talk to you and get to know your story and want to make sure that you had everything you needed to keep going and take the next step so that you didn't give up and you just kept trying. And so it was that whole influence of people that June Rue and Bill Clark, they were both from Salem Community College where I went to school first. They were just really incredible people who cared about me a lot. And I joined some clubs, and when you're in a smaller setting, you really get to find yourself and you make close relationships and good friends. So those were a lot of the things that really influenced me, back then. So.
Okay. So what's one thing you wish you had known before you decided to go on this journey?
Well, I think one of the hardest things, and it still is being sure of, am I doing the right thing? And so sometimes career paths are simple and progressive. You have to go to college so you get this degree, so you get this job, and you promote, and these are your titles, and this is the direction you just kind of like evolve in. And that's not true for most people, right? That's like a small, select group of career paths, and we need those to be filled. But the rest of it, if you think about, getting a degree in business, that's so huge and so vast. And, I went to school at University of Delaware for a degree in finance. I was headed to New York City, going to do the Wall Street thing. And, the market crashed. I didn't quite get there. And that was okay because I ended up adjuncting with my MBA, and it changed everything anyway. And that's what was meant to be. But if I had known, I wouldn't have felt so lost maybe for a time period, because if there's no direct career path, you kind of feel like, well, what am I supposed to be doing? Am I doing the right thing? Am I going in the right motions? And you don't know for sure, and that's why it does take those people along the way that kind of keep pushing you to keep your drive and keep moving forward. So.
Which is actually a perfect segue to my next question. I'm going to say, who are the 3 people who have been most influential as part of your journey?
Well, this is in no order of importance.
And you can mention more if you need to. I don't want anybody to feel offended.
Well, everyone that I know and love, thank you for loving me back. So there, we check that box, right? Yes. That's everybody.
Yes.
But I do have to say that Dean Patricia Claghorn, she works for Rowan College, South Jersey. We met never accidentally, right? Nothing happens accidentally, but she and I started at Wilmington University in the doctoral program and didn't know each other.
Oh, wow.
But she, gravitated towards me, and I gravitated towards her. We took all of our classes together. We worked on all of our projects, and then I was an adjunct for her, and one day she called and said, can you come and help me with this position? And she has just really given me not just like career advice, but she's really, just helped me grow as a person, helped me grow as a professional. She really mentored me. And it was really interesting because the position I have is to mentor students. And so, everything kind of worked hand in hand. But without her, I definitely wouldn't be as confident as I am in my ability to do what I do. So she's definitely someone who has influenced me, both at work and outside of work, because we've known each other for a long time. So I'm really thankful for that. I do have a best friend, and her name is Jody. And so she takes all of my calls. So every time I call, she stops what she's doing and just listens to me pour my heart out or rant about something, and that's helpful, when you have somebody in your corner.
I certainly do.
Yep. And then my husband, because he lets me do whatever I think I want to do, and never stops me from trying something or being creative or, spending money and wasting money every once in a while or, just really putting myself out there. He's really supportive and behind that. And, if you don't have that in your home, it's really, really difficult to just learn and grow and be confident in what you're doing. So those would probably be my top 3.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you have an amazing group in your top 3. And all the other people that she acknowledged by blanket that are
Yes.
part of her life that helped her along the way. How did you find the courage to go down this path?
Well, I don't know, because there was a lot of points of fear, right? Am I going to make it? Am I going to spend all this money and the degree is not going to work? Am I going to, apply for these jobs and never get hired? And, you have a choice. You can do nothing and see how far you get. And you really won't get very far. Yeah. So you have to pick something, right? And you have to make a decision and you have to go with it. And if it fails, at least you tried, right? At least you did something. And so, not everything that I tried worked out, sure. But I just kept moving along that path because I wanted to make something. And I really believe that if you know the direction you're headed, you just keep going in that direction. And your goals might change along the way, but you're still moving forward. And that's what you have to do. You have to just keep taking one step at a time, but you have to keep moving.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to take a little break here. Then we'll be right back after our break with Candice Racite. Welcome back to RVN's new television show, What the Why, with host Barbara Ann. We're talking with Candice Racite, who is the Dean of Internships and Career Planning at Rowan College of South Jersey. And we were just talking about overcoming our fears and the importance. And I say this to my son all the time, if you don't try, you're definitely going to fail.
Yep.
And if you fail, there's no fail. You learn something as part of that process. So keeping in line with that idea, what's one thing that didn't quite go the way you had hoped it would? And what did you learn from the experience?
I had an interview, 2005 or 2006, and I had interviewed with like 7 people. And I was finally at the top, and I was going to make a lot of money. I was going to fly all over the place. It was going to be that big, big job. And on the phone with, this top-level executive, she said, "We can't wait to bring you on board. We're going to send you everywhere and show you all these things." She goes, "Are you ready for that?" And I hesitated because I was afraid for a minute, like, wow, where this is going to take me away from my family. I'm going to be flying all over the place, and who knows what I'm going to get into. It's a great big world out there. And I was young and single, and that hesitation, she said, "Maybe you're not ready." And the whole thing came crumbling down. And I had spent all that time interviewing, and it was supposed to go that way. But she felt the hesitation, and probably for good reason, because who knows, right? Who knows where I'd be or what would have happened, and it wasn't the job for me. And I was working, so it wasn't like, I wasn't going to have an income. But it was just something that I had planned on and hoped for. And, sometimes it can take like a month or 2 to like really interview for one of those big jobs. And, then you have to just kind of go into recovery mode and figure out what you're going to do now. But that was a really big lesson for me, because if you are hesitant, you have to explore that a little bit. And sometimes someone else will catch it for you. And I don't even know that woman anymore, but she played an integral part in my life because she didn't actually offer me the job. And I thought it was mine, having gone through all those interviews. But it's okay, because now when I'm hesitant, I think for a second, okay, I'm going to make this decision. What are my hesitations? Let's plan through those so that maybe I don't spend as much time or as much effort in something that might not work out, But you still keep moving at the end of it. And I did. I just stayed where I was for another 6 months to a year, and then I got a different job at the end. So.
And so many people can empathize with what you just shared. And I get the impression that influences your approach in terms of working with students. So I don't want to assume. So my next question for you is, what makes you unique from others who are doing similar work?
Well, aside from, having been an intern and the people that influenced me, I have a little bit of a global picture, I think. So I look at it from a societal perspective and an economical perspective. And what really serves that growth is the current workforce today. And those are young, talented students that were exactly like me a long time ago. And so I feel like there's a lot of greater good going on, right? So it's the student that's right in front of you that needs your attention right now. And it really is a one-to-one relationship. My directors, Kristen White and Rita Rios and Jalen Dixon, all of them put in one at a time to each student, but they need that. But from there, when you're helping one student get one internship that turns into a job placement, and now their career is set. Or, you've helped an employer with that particular project because they needed the young talent to come in and do all of their social media or their graphic arts. And then you've served that purpose, but that helps that business and company continue to grow, which, just keeps the economy moving forward, and it feeds society when people are employed and giving back to the area that they live in.
Yeah, and my nephew, Ryan Ellis, shout out to him, actually went through the internship program and did an internship at Rowan College of South Jersey in radio, television, film, ended up working for the college. Now he's going to Rowan University, he's going to graduate soon, and he's really, really good. And a lot of that really does come from the experience that he had during his time at Rowan. So let's take a little bit of a different twist. What are some of the types of jobs, to the extent that you can share, that some of your students have chosen as their next steps?
You mean after they graduate?
After they graduate, or internships that they pursued. I know you see a wide variety. Rowan College of South Jersey has multiple campuses with students in tons of different career paths.
So one of my graduates that I'm really proud of got a job at Nerd Street Gamers in Philadelphia.
Oh.
And, that's like a dream job for somebody with a 2-year degree to go work there. They were kind of like a startup company. Gaming is big everywhere. And he got that job, and it was just so exciting and amazing for him. And he's leaving for LA now to do the next big, venture. So, really proud of him and moving forward. And our interns, they have a really good experience, and oftentimes they do get asked to stay in either the summer or the next semester. And as you know, we are the 2-year school, but we have a great relationship with our 4-year universities, especially Rowan University. So a lot of times our students will stay. They'll get their last 2 years at Rowan University, but they're still working part-time for wherever they were at their internship when they were at RCSJ. And so that's really great because, that income that is related to your job just stays longer on your resume, gives you more to talk about. Then when you graduate with your 4-year degree, you have this huge experience and this great recommendation, or it really turns into like a direct career path for you, and you've been there for a couple years at that point.
Okay. And how do students decide to participate in the program? Is it something that's marketed, or do they find you on campus? What's the process?
It's a little bit of everything. So we are working right now to put the internship opportunities at the beginning so that you can take career assessment when you first get out of high school and come to us as freshmen. We want them to be able to take a career assessment to kind of guide what major they should be in, which will help them figure out, this is kind of the direction I want to go. We get them an internship. They can find us on our website. We do a lot of student recruitment. We have events, a Job Ready Now event in the fall, and then every spring we do Backpack to Briefcase for our graduates, but anybody can attend. So we do a lot of self-promotion. I'm all over LinkedIn as often as I can be. Just trying to talk about our internships and the value that it brings to employers. And right now I'm trying to introduce all of my interns, maybe every other day, so to speak, just to kind of put the campaign out there that this is your future workforce. Okay. They're interning right now.
So you're featuring
I'm trying to feature them because we have them, when they are an intern, they take our class and we show them how to use LinkedIn, because that's one of the best ways to get a job is through that platform. So there's a lot of ways to find us, but we are trying to put ourselves out there everywhere we can think of that a student would be, looking for it.
Okay. Now, what if I'm a company? I mean, I have a company that I run and I have an intern. How would a company that's potentially interested in taking advantage, for lack of better words, one of these talented interns that you're working with?
It's actually word of mouth, really. Okay. I mean, I am on LinkedIn, and a lot of people know about the college. I spend some time with the Gloucester County Chamber of Commerce, so people know where the college is and who I am. But once there's a good, successful internship at, right now it's First Harvest Credit Union. They just took an internship. They're going to tell everybody in their network. I hope they do. And they have in the past. And so then just in casual conversation with colleagues among lots of businesses, they talk about, I had this internship and it really helped me with this. And the next thing you know, I need to have her number. And then they call and, just the whole thing kind of goes from there.
Okay. And for anybody that's interested in talking to Candice, her information is going to be available at the end of the show. So now I'm going to pivot entirely. What's one thing you wish people knew about you that they don't necessarily know or maybe misunderstand?
Man, that is such a tough question. Well, maybe that I am a little more creative than my job allows me to be. Okay. I get to do a lot with marketing and just promoting my own program, and we do have a division that comes along and helps us with branding. But I have the desire to have a bigger creative outlet that I don't really have access to, because I don't work for myself.
Okay. So how do you, because you're very authentic, you stand in serving your purpose. Yeah. How do you fill that need?
Well, the college, in one way, we did a student fashion show. And so we partnered with Brooks Brothers, and we were able to help the students prepare for interviews with resumes, but we also got to let them go shopping at Brooks Brothers. We had all of our employer partners sponsor, and we did a whole fashion show. And
that's cool.
Students were suited up, and literally at the reception afterwards, there were employers that were saying, you should come work for me, let me get your resume. We didn't plan for that part, but that was exciting. But being part of that was really, really cool because it was in the fashion world, and it was putting outfits together, and it was hair and makeup.
And using that other side of you.
Yes, it was so fun.
That's awesome.
So fun.
That is so awesome. So, believe it or not, we're at time.
Oh.
So, thank you so much for coming today and having this conversation with me and sharing with our audience about some of the fears that you've faced down and how you have accomplished what you've accomplished and all of the wonderful things you're doing for others in your role. And Candice is one of a number of guests that we have scheduled in the coming weeks. Our guest next week is Ellen Herbert, who is the CEO of Herbiz in Delaware. She's a master coach with many years of corporate, government, and private practice experience in coaching and consulting. And let's just say her catchphrase is, women's business is Ellen's business. So as a reminder, What the Why airs on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. on both those days, as well as Mondays at 3:30 p.m. and is also available on demand through RVN Television and Roku. I mentioned that I have my own company. In addition to serving as host of What the Why, I also am the owner of Purpose-Filled Solutions and Evolutions. And What the Why is exactly what we like to do. We help people figure out, whether it's in business or life, their core purpose and help them navigate the resources that are available for them to achieve their goals. So whether you're looking to make a change in your life or career, big or small, please join us again for more inspirational and informative conversations with people like Candice and others who wanted to make changes, overcame fears and obstacles to find their core purpose, and authentically live in it.